Well, we're only having this conversation because of what everyday people are having when we talk about doing. You know, what happened in Ferguson, what's happening in Baltimore, what's happening in various places. We hear every day, every single day, where someone is shot, killed by policemen. That's one aspect of it. One of the things that when Black Lives Matter is simply not, it's dealing with the issue beyond just the killings itself. Black Lives Matter in terms of health care. Black Lives Matter in terms of education, in terms of the quality of life, things from jobs, employment, all those things. When you mention more of the issue, the situation with Black Lives Matter. And I think that we're learning a different kind of way of looking at history. Until Colin Kaepernick, I'm a big 49er fan since I was 11 years old. Yeah, Colin Kaepernick stood up and refused to stand up for the national anthem, which had only been the national anthem since 1931. You know, it was before 1931, it was the national anthem before that. So over that time, because of that, we learned something more about the national anthem that we didn't know. We learned something more about the other stanza of that, you know, that song. It's a great deal that we learned as a result of that. And part of the issue has always been about what we know, what information we have to respond to. We talk about, I mean, you take for me, my mother comes from a little town that I've gone to all my life. The first time I went there when I was 6 months old, where I lived with my grandparents off and on for 2 years. I was born and raised in San Francisco, but I lived with my grandparents because my mother and father were working and there were more, you know, kids would come in and we, you know, so you do what you do. You send it home to mama. And it happens to be my grandmother, my mother's mother was a midwife. So she knew everything that needed to be done and she trusted everything. But I remember my great-grandmother, my grandfather's mother. She was born in 1853, Mary Brown. She was freed by the Emancipation Proclamation. She lived there in that little farm, in her own little space on that farm, and I remembered her. So, and she was 90-something years old. She lived to be about 97, 98 years old. Yeah, and that's longevity runs in my family. I got my mother's cousins who are 93, 98 years old. I'm gonna see them Friday when I go down to Georgia. But I've been coming to that place all my life. Like, there's a place here, it used to be the capital of Georgia, but it's also the epic center of the expansion of slavery. If you read Edward Baptist's new book, Half Never Been Told, he talks about Georgia and how Georgian legislators sold 350 million acres of land to New York's land speculators in about 1796, only 7 years after the ratification of the Constitution. And a decision was decided by the Supreme Court to allow it to go through by I think 1803. It fueled the expansion of slavery. Part of the land, part of that 350 million acres now is part of Mississippi and part of Alabama. It's called the Yazoo fraud, Yazoo, Mississippi, the Yazoo fraud. And what happened? For a penny and a half an acre. So you try to, if you look at, you feel that and understand with the expansion, and then it got a gift it did not expect. This government got a gift, which was funded by British banks, who in 1812 burned down the Capitol, you know. But it was funded by a gift, and that's the victory of Haitian slaves who dismantled Napoleon's army and formed its own country, January 1st, 1804. That gift became the Louisiana Purchase, which included all the other land in Louisiana, which Louisiana became the center, one of the centers for slavery and expansion of slavery, that made this country an insignificant colony within the British colonial system until, and within 50 years, less than 50 years, the most powerful country economically in the world because of cotton. The first revolution based on cotton, the second part is based on fossil fuel. We don't understand that history and what comes out of it and the expansion of slavery. We're missing a point. We're missing what really happened, and we can't understand who we are now, the relationships we have to now, without understanding that basic, elementary fact of what slavery was. So all the actions that are taking place, all the things that you say, it's not something that you forget. This country has slavery from the moment of its inception for the next more than 250 years. So what does that mean? You know, what happened after that? We have to understand that. And you have to have empathy for those people who went through it, whose ancestors go through it, who continue to go through it in the programs, the established institutionalization of racism in this country. You have to understand that. So when you're looking at that and understand and seeing that a black boy is shot somewhere, or a black woman is shot somewhere, or something else happens by police, and that we're talking about police. We know there's other kind of violence. We're talking about police in particular. You have to understand the historic nature and lineage of that. You know, Blackman wrote a book, Slavery by Another Name. Now he's a Wall Street writer, a Wall Street Journal writer. He wrote a book, Slavery by Another Name, understanding what happened after slavery, all the way up into just before World War II to black people. You have to understand that history does not happen in a bottle. We may have developed more technology since World War II than in all of human history, but that doesn't absolve the other part of the history. That doesn't dismiss all the other kind of history. If you don't understand that and understand all of that, you're not fully engaged in what the past has been, what the present is, and what's the possibility for the future. So understand that. As Robinson once said, each generation makes its own history and is judged by the history that it makes.
I think that deserves a round of applause.